All right, welcome back to Onshape. We're going to do another video on some lightsaber features. At least I'm going to try some stuff. I've been going over some of these things in class lately, and I want to make sure you guys have another resource to look at how to do some of these things. So first off, we are going to just make a cylinder, something relatively simple. Let's just go in here. This will work. I thought I just made a blank one. Where did it go? Okay, so we're going to make a new document. Hilt play 2. Not sure what happened to the one I just made. Okay, so first off, I'm going to make a cylinder from the front, top, or right side view. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to go ahead and use the right side, I think. And we're just going to make a simple circle for starters. I'm going to say about 2 inches. Finish that sketch. I'm going to extrude this out. And really the goal of what I want to show you guys today is the wrap tool and the pattern tool as well. So I have a 4-inch long cylinder, 2 inches in diameter. This could be any part, really, of the hilt. It'd probably be a little long for an emitter or pommel, but handles, controls, maybe internal pieces. It really just depends what you want it to be. So first thing I'm going to do is I want to draw on the outer surface of the cylinder. So I'm going to take my top plane, right-click, and I'm going to offset plane. And because I know this is a 2-inch diameter, I can offset this orange plane here up 1 inch, and that number is going to be right here. If I want to go the opposite direction, of course, you just hit the opposite direction arrow, and it would go the other way. 1 inch is good for what we want. I'm going to hit the green check mark, and now I have this plane 1 that is sitting on top of the cylinder. So I'm going to make a sketch on top of plane 1, rotate around, and I could draw any shape here that I want to as long as it is a closed shape. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a simple triangle. I'm not even going to measure it for this. And I do want to get this triangle relatively centered. So let me throw some dimensions on here real fast. There we go. I'll just do it like this. It'll be a little easier. Okay. So let's call this 0.5. And that should be centered as long as I have set the 2 sides of that triangle to be equal. So they're equal. Now that should be perfectly centered. Yeah. So I'm going to take that triangle, which is kind of floating on top, so I finish my sketch, and if I turn this around, you can kind of see that the triangle is actually floating on top of the cylinder. It's not sitting against it. So to get it actually down on the cylinder, we have to do what's called a wrap. So depending on how you're zoomed, this may be a drop-down menu here, or the buttons may be kind of just spread out. If you click the drop down, you'll see this wrap tool. So I can now select any sketch really, and I'm going to go solid here. Click the triangle, and it's asking me what I want to do. Next, it's saying the target. So what do I want to wrap it around? So I click target, click the cylinder, and this is going to wrap around the cylinder. So there you have a perfect triangle that's now wrapped around that contour. You can make this a totally new part by clicking new, or you can leave it as an add, or you can cut a hole and make it remove. Any of these options will work. We're just going to do add to keep it simple. Hit the green check mark, and there's the triangle. It's now wrapped around the cylinder. So if you're just trying to wrap any kind of shape on there, that's pretty easy to do. But if you want to make a pattern, this is where it gets a little more complicated. You have a pattern tool up here. This is a lineal pattern or a circular pattern. We're going to start with a circular. I'm going to click on that triangle, but right now it's not letting me select it. So there's a drop-down menu here at the top that says Part Pattern. So if I would have made the triangle a new part, it would have allowed me to select it and copy it as a new part. But because it's just added, I have to go to Feature Pattern because it's a part of this part. It's not its own individual piece. It's just part of this. I know I'm using the word part a lot. So it wants to know what feature to select. So if you're not sure, or you can't quite grab it, it's easiest if I just go over here and click on the feature and it will select the whole feature. Then it needs to know an axis. So what am I rotating around? Click this and just select any arch or circle and it will start to copy those going all the way around in a pattern. Now, I don't want 4, I want a whole bunch of them. So let's just try some different numbers here. I'm going to do 20 and see what that looks like. They're overlapping, so it's angry. Let's change that to maybe 12. Ah, that looks better. So now it sort of has a nice little crown on there, if you will. And you can set that number to pretty much whatever you want as long as they're not running into each other. I do want a little bit of a space, so I'm going to do 10. Go ahead and I hit the green check mark. It's going to create those in a circular pattern. Now, if I want to take this one step further, I could also do a lineal pattern with this circular pattern and actually send them all the way up and down my block. So I'm going to go up here to lineal pattern, select the circular pattern. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, I have to change this to feature again. Click on the circular pattern. And I'll click the original one as well. And I'll set the direction to the cylinder. And now I can just change directions. I can set the space between them. I'll make this 1.5, see what that looks like. And there you have another set. If I want to do this 50 times or 60 times or whatever, you can just add more occurrences down here and it would add more and more of those. So you can get a whole bunch on there. I think it's angry because I fell off the piece. Let's try 3 sets. See if that lets me. Nah, it still doesn't like it because it's floating off the end. So, depending on what your shape is and how long you want to go, I'm sure there's a way around that to make it accept it, but you can do that there as well. Let's say you wanted the triangles to go the opposite direction, sort of intertwine with each other. There are other tools up here that you can experiment with, like the transform tool. This will allow you to move, rotate, copy, scale, transform different parts and pieces and kind of change them about. So there's a lot of different things there that you can do. But this should work for what we're trying to do at the moment. I did want to go over a couple other things that you can do with the wrap, because the wrap is a really powerful tool. If I go down here to the position and I change the angle to, let's say, 15 degrees, notice what happens to the triangle. It's going to turn the triangle. You can also shift the triangle up and down depending on how you want it to move. Let's say I wanted this triangle down further. I can change I believe it's the V shift. Let's just make it 1 inch. And you can shift it right off of the cylinder and it will just still generate that just fine. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with the wrap tool. It's a pretty powerful tool. Just be aware that as you update this, you may have to make new selections with your other tools as well so that they can continue to function as they are meant to. Notice the lineal pattern now is red. It's not sure where that original geometry has gone. So if I cancel these and I reselect, for some reason it doesn't like that. Not sure why it's giving me a red there, but it's typically a matter of just clicking around to some different things and getting it to do what you want, essentially. So some pretty neat stuff. That wrap tool is very powerful, very cool. You can just wrap sketches if you want to. It doesn't have to be a solid shape, but those are some options for you there as well. I have had some issues trying to wrap onto an ellipsed cylinder or a lofted cylinder, which are these tools here, which I'll probably do in another video. Or sorry, the sweep is right here. Ellipse would just be drawing an oval instead of a circle when we do that first extrusion. But it doesn't seem to like surfaces that are not consistently round for the wrap tool. So I'm still trying to work out the kinks with that. I imagine maybe if we paid for the Pro or the Plus or something, that may allow us to do that in Onshape. But for what we're doing, this is still really powerful and really cool. So I want to show you what I've come up with so far, which if you're in class this year, you've already seen this a dozen times probably. But really, my entire hilt so far has just been a series of students asking me how to do something and me experimenting with it and just sort of adding different features to different things. So I just showed you all the steps necessary to do these holes and how to do this slot here at the top. As far as cutting away the top section there where it's sort of missing, it's easier said than done. Just think about it in simple shapes. If I turn this sideways, I am essentially just cutting away a square and extruding it across. Or if I turn this a different direction, I'm cutting this away in the same sense. So just a little triangle there that I've cut off, essentially. And then the hole in the center is just a circle. Extrude it down through with a remove. So this doesn't have to be as difficult as you might think it is. This back piece here is really simple. It's kind of a happy accident how this turned out. It is just this sketch that has been extruded with a draft. So I'll scroll down and show you how that looks. And I'll be done in just a minute. Not the transform, the extrusion. So this is just a regular extrusion. I took this simple shape, kind of looks like the Imperial logo, and I added a draft to it of 6 degrees. And then you sort of get this crazy castle crown looking thing. So hopefully those features help you out, and good luck with your drawings.